And then, as we broaden our scope from the tragedy here at home to the rest of the world, we know that President Trump and his cabinet has been meeting for hours at a time. And one of those cabinet positions is the Secretary of Defense, a guy, Pete Hegseth, we know. But I guess President Trump wants to take that away, that title, and give him a new one called the Secretary of War, to rename the DOD the War Department. And it's been that way since 1947. This is a quote from White House Deputy Press Secretary Anna Kelly. She says, as President Trump said, our military should be focused on offense, not just defense, which is why he has prioritized war fighters at the Pentagon instead of DEI and woke ideology. Stay tuned. So, yeah, the idea is to create that cultural change that Pete Hegseth literally wrote the book on, to get the people inside the DOD focused more on their job, which is to deter, defeat, and sometimes destroy the enemy. Maybe it's like literally a brand change to create a new culture. And from that perspective, I support it 100%. If you look at the history of the War Department, it changed in 1947.
Why? Why did they change the name?
There's two reasons why. There's a reason why they changed the name, and then there's a reason why they changed it again to DOD. They first changed it to National Military Establishment, NME. And then for a few years, everybody's like, we literally are calling them the enemy. Like, that's the name. And so then they changed it in 49. They amended it and changed it to the Department of Defense. But the reason why is real easy. The War Department was basically our Army. Then we had the Department of Navy, Department of Air Force, and they had to put them all together after the World War II because technology had emerged so much. They had to be able to communicate and be more what you call upward. I can't think of the word for it, but basically to bring them all in under one umbrella. So you've got the War Department, Navy Department, Air Force Department. We're not going to call them the enemy, the NME. So what are we going to call them? And it came about Department of Defense. There was also a movement to say, hey, we've got nuclear power now, so let's try to bring the tensions down. Let's talk about this is to defend ourselves, not wage war. It was a time of relative pacifism going into the 50s. Obviously, Korean War was happening. Almost nobody was talking about it. So there was some political reasons, but also some just very technical reasons. Hey, the War Department means the Army. We need something different here.
And your thoughts?
No, I was eager to hear your thoughts.
You love war.
I want Department of Peace.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
Do I have any takers on the Department of Peace? Listen, I think we should be deterring wars. I understand, by the way, it's a great name, Department of War. From a marketing point of view,
Yeah.
You're probably going to attract war fighters, which is, I think, what President Trump and Pete Hegseth actually want. I get that. But I also think I'm tired of wars, and I think we need to start focusing on peace. And I do think President Trump is doing that and deterring it in many ways. And so I wish that the name reflected that outcome, which we all want, because I do think we're war weary. By the way, I also think we should start showing what wars look like. We've ended wars like Vietnam because we saw pictures of war. Remember the napalm, the little girl running down the street? Yeah. When we saw what war looked like, we decided we wanted less of them. And then when we cover up what war looks like this drone warfare that we're seeing, we should see what it looks like.
We've got a video game point of view on war now that we've never had before.
Agreed.
I'll just say one thing. Department of Peace, nobody started more wars or lost more wars than UN peacekeepers. So maybe that's not it either. So I don't want to go down that path.
Fair enough.
And, of course, the only person who has the credibility to change it to the Department of War would be Donald Trump, because he's never started a war.
He's ended it.
And the War Department should be in a glass case that never comes out unless we really need it. And I like using language that doesn't pussyfoot around what it is that we're talking about.
I agree with that. Well, we hasn't started wars. We are funding wars, and we should talk about that as well.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.